everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Abiola Adese. Remember, you can call me Abiola by Grace, Abby, or Abiola. Okay, so today is conversation series. And if you're new here, thanks for stopping by to watch me. I do not take it for granted. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Support me by subscribing, sharing with your friends, leave your comments as much as you want. Okay. To my regulars, to my returnees, thank you so much for coming back to watch me. I do not take you for granted. Thank you so much. And today is conversation series, and I have my friend here, Damilola Adejola. I call her Adejola. That's actually what she goes by too. So she's going to be talking to us about a few things about finances. Remember, we are growing 360 on my channel. So at this point, let me welcome Damilola, and we can talk about what we have to discuss today. Dami, over to you.
Hi.
Hi, Dami. So good to have you here. Guys, she ought to have been to this channel. I'll be on my channel, rather. She ought to have been on my channel for a very long time. Like, she ought to have been here before now.
I'm a bit
Before
nervous
now. You shouldn't be, girl. Don't worry. Don't worry.
for
So
having me
introduce yourself.
and the opportunity to be here. It's my first YouTube video, so I'm really looking forward to everything going on fine. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's good. So glad to have you here. Okay, girl. And Demi and I have been friends for a while, like for a long while, almost 10 years, if not 11 years even, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
11:24. Yeah.
Yeah. So glad to have you here, Dami. And Dami's a finance girl. So that's why she's gonna be talking to us about financial tips, things related to finances. And more importantly for new immigrants in Canada, depending on if you're a student or a couple, however. And even if you've been here but you didn't know these things, because technically these things are from what we're conversing today is actually from like a conversation we've had before, like a few months back. Demi and I were talking about how there were things we wish we did differently, when we newly got here in like 2015, 2016. There were things we wished like we took seriously, and that's why we just feel it's best for us to share with you all so you can learn from our mistakes and also learn those things that would help you to make better decisions financially. So Dami, over to you. So what
Yeah.
are those things that you wish you did better, like with regards to finances, and for people to learn from?
Yeah, and that's a very good question. I think the topic of money, like I'll just call it what it is. The topic
It is.
very interesting is one that usually difficult for people to hear. At
Mm,
least it was for me, but it's very important, if you really want to grow and live a very good life. So the first thing I would say that I took for granted or I really did not prioritize when I recently moved here was so there are three things. So I'll just put them forward now. So I would say savings, and then
savings,
investing the money,
investing,
and then building credit.
building credit.
Building credit. So yeah, so savings have not been the best, saver. Like I have a very bad spending habit. I almost spend like 90% of my income I use.
Hmm. Hmm.
But God has saved me, and
Thank God.
so I recently, started, forcing myself to save. And there are a lot of, opportunities, a lot of channels or platforms that you can use to incorporate like a savings habit into your life. Like there's this app called Milo, I think, that helps you, to save. So it kind of round up, for example, Milo, it
Yeah.
rounds up every time you buy something, it rounds
Yes.
up that thing and then
Yes.
difference and save it for you and invest it for you. So take for
Wow,
example,
that's good.
let's say you buy a coffee of say 450, you can
Yeah.
round based on what you set, you can round it up to $5. So that 50
Yeah.
cents, put it away for you and invest it. So you're forced to save. So there are different mediums like that can help you save. But saving is something that I think is very important.
Hmm.
And the way you can save, we'll talk about that later, through TFSA account or um,
Yes. Okay.
RRSP account. We can talk about that later, but savings is very important. So also is investing. So now that you have all this money, stashed away, you need to start investing. Oh, and before I leave the topic of savings, Abiola, I think there is something we need to discuss, which is I need to mention, which is emergency fund. I think we've spoken about it
Mm.
before as well.
Yeah, we have.
Something that ideally, as a personal finance manager, would tell you that you should have an emergency fund because
Fun.
no what can happen, right? And what
Yeah.
that you should have, like, at least at the very minimum 6 months
Mm.
um worth of your expenses stashed away in an account. So if,
Mm.
for
Wow.
example, you do spend about 2,500 per month, that's your
Yeah.
standard expenses. So you should have like 6 months, you know,
Of
six
that
months
amount.
of that amount.
So
Start
6 times 2,500.
exactly. So that would be like 15K for
Mm.
6 months stashed away. Or better still, 12 months, 30K stashed away. So that if anything happens, say you lose your job or you got injured, aside from insurance claim that you can get, you have this money that is really readily accessible for you for the next 6 to 12 months, depending
Mm.
on what you have there. So normally you should have your emergency fund first and then begin to save towards other things and towards
Thanks. Mm.
investment, towards buying a home or whatever. So I wanted to point that before I move on. And then there's
Yeah.
investing, where you then begin to use this money to make more,
Make more money. Make the money work for you. Mm.
make your money work for you exactly. And then the third part is the part of credits.
Mm.
And but on investing, like I said, there is of course there are different securities that you can invest in. So we can talk about that later as well, like Capella.
Okay.
And then the last one is definitely credit. So credit building is very important because a
Mm.
lot of us, are from the part of the world where our economy is not really based on credit
The
system.
credit system. Mm.
So it's usually cash based. You
But
just
here, everything is.
but
Hmm.
everything here is credit, credit, credit. Not that you buy things on credit, but the
Yeah.
way you assess your profile, your financial profile,
Profile.
credit worthiness. They want to see like what's your credit history like, what's your credit score. So there's credit score, two parts. There's credit score and there's credit
The
history. So
history.
you have to be able to
Okay.
do well. So credit score, you need to be able to pay up your credits on time or your balances on time. You shouldn't use like max out your credit card really because that kills your credit score.
Wow.
Also, if you're going to apply for different credit products like option and they're having to pull your credit score, that also impacts your credit score. So you have to be aware of those
Of
things.
that. Yeah, that's true.
Credit history side, you want to have a clean credit report. And what I mean by clean,
Mm.
you don't want to have any unpaid due balance.
Due balance.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So try to make your payments that are due consistently so that you don't have
Mm.
any outstanding balance, which would impact your credit history and subsequent
Credits. Cool.
consequently impact your credit score exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Because it
so you.
takes a for if there's any issue with your credit history, your credit report, it takes I think like 3 years or so before it can be erased from your credit profile.
Credit. Oh. Oh,
Be
I
very
see.
even if it's $50. Like I have a friend that he just forgot to make $50 credit to make $50
Payment.
on his credit card. And I think the thing went to collections and he has it
Whoa.
on his credit
On his
report.
record. Oh, wow. Wow.
Mm.
I always just pay attention to the credit score. I didn't even, look at the whole like credit history and credit score. So guys, there's the credit history and the credit score that you have to pay attention to. So someone asked me a question last I think towards last year, a new immigrant. So he was trying to, be careful with his credit cards and payments. And then so he was asking if he could pay more than he owes. Like I think he had 55 and then he was going to pay 70. Can you do that? Like, does it impact anything? No.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. For sure, I think
For sure, it's
that's
okay.
bad. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
not
It's
bad.
bad. So long as you're paying what you're owing, and this time they're the ones even owing you.
Owing you.
So
Okay.
like that would not affect your. I don't know if it will affect your credit score, maybe to boost it, but definitely it won't. It won't like negatively impact.
Impact you.
I don't
Okay.
know if
Yeah.
I don't know about that one, but
Okay, that's good. Yeah, and thanks for the part on savings. As new immigrants, you're just like, you're just like, you need to get this, you need to get this, get that, and you're spending, 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 and you're not even considering savings. But like she said, you have to make a priority.
yeah,
It's something you have to, make it seem like it's a need. The way
yeah,
you think you need electricity, you need your phone, make
yeah,
it seem like savings is actually a need, because if you make it seem that way, that every month you're putting something aside for savings, I mean, it will pay in the long run, and then eventually you can invest the money and have your money work for you. So it's important, guys. To be honest, it is. Thank you
yeah.
so much for that, Dami. So
The,
now let's okay.
so sorry, the thing I just wanted to add to that is, you know, so why savings is also very important, especially in when you're outside of your home country, is that you don't just want to be left stranded, but also you also want to be able to take opportunity of opportunistic pricing. For example,
Mm,
this pandemic happened, and a few investment opportunities came up because
okay.
like
Yeah.
having distress selling, and let's say
Mm,
prices were a little bit discounted. So if people that have cash
cash.
at that time are the ones that can take advantage.
Advantage of the
Stock
market.
market,
Yeah.
the stock market dipped. So at that point, if you had cash, you could buy valuable stocks at, say, relatively discounted price.
Lower prices. Yeah.
So imagine if you had cash. People that had
Mm,
cash back then are the ones that really were able to leverage the
mm.
the crash in the market, like the
You
10%
never go wrong by saving. That's just it. You never go wrong.
cash. So I
Yeah.
think it's important to have some money always there stashed away.
That's good. Okay, yeah. So now we're supposed to talk about the RRSP and TFSA, like what's the difference and which should we go for at a particular time as opposed to the other.
Yeah, so RRSP and TFSA, so these are two registered like savings plan. RRSP is more for retirement, and then TFSA is more or less for anything, like for anything you want to save for. But
What are their meanings? Like what's RRSP, what's TFSA?
so RRSP is, I think, is registered
Registered
retirement
Retirement Savings Plan.
savings plan. Yeah, and then TFSA is tax-free
Tax
savings
free
plan. Yeah. So
savings account.
RRSP, like I said, is usually mostly for retirement savings. So that one you can only begin to save in it when you are employed,
Okay.
because the contribution limit of RRSP is based on your prior years, 18% of your prior year's income.
Income.
But
Okay.
TFSA, there's no limitation. Like so long as you're the majority age in your province, say 18 or 19, you can begin to contribute to at a TFSA
Yeah.
account.
But there's
And
also a contribution limit to that
yeah,
one, right? Yeah.
and the limit is for TFSA is about, I think, for every year they set what it is, but it's usually between the range of 5,000 to 6,000 per
6,000.
year.
Yeah.
Per
Okay.
year.
So as a low income earner, which would pay us better? Which would pay like a low income earner better? Like which should they go for?
Yeah, and
Your sister.
that's a good question, because the reason or the choice of which of these two plans to save in is going to be based on mostly your current income bracket, and
Mm-hmm.
what you view your future income bracket to look
To
like.
look like.
So if you're
Okay.
earning low now,
Yeah.
and you'll be earning more in future, it makes sense to put money in TFSA, because
Mm,
that means that you're putting your after tax, you're getting tax low now, because it's after tax dollars that is going into TFSA, but pre tax dollars is going into RRSP. So
Okay.
monies that you withdraw from TFSA is not going to be taxed. But money that you withdraw from RRSP, which is at retirement, it will then be taxed when you withdraw it
Mm,
at
I
retirement.
see. I see.
So that's why right now, if you're earning more, if you're earning high, and so you're in high income bracket, and then you know that in retirement, you'll be earning relatively lower and you'll be in low income, low tax bracket.
Mm,
So you can start putting money into RRSP now that you're earning a lot and you're in a high tax bracket so that you're able to pay low tax now because you're actually, a high tax bracket. But because you're putting money into RRSP, which is tax deductible, you are
yeah.
paying lower tax. And then
Okay.
when you are in retirement, when you are in low income group,
Bracket.
low tax
Mm-hmm.
bracket, when you withdraw the money, you pay lower tax for
Makes
IRS.
sense. Makes
But for
sense.
TFSA, if you are in a low income bracket now, so you're paying low tax, it's just best because there's not
Best.
so much, you're not paying as much tax, right? So just
Yeah.
put money into your TFSA now while you're getting tax and you're putting the after tax dollar in TFSA. And then when you start to earn more,
The transition to RSP.
transition to RSP, exactly.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
even take money from your TFSA and
And
put in
put
your
in
RRSP.
RSP. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. So it's best to actually advise like prospective immigrants or new immigrants and students, to start off with TFSA,
Yeah.
because there you're not earning much, you're not earning as high. And then eventually when you get a job or probably as a couple, you pull your income together, then you can then transition into RRSP, yeah. So that's a good one. That's good. Thank you so much for that, Dami. Thank
Yeah.
you. So now we're going to get into stock investments. Like, Dami has shared a few things to me about stock investments, and and I just thought it was something that would really benefit many of us, because like I said, we are growing all around on this channel, financially, spiritually, physically, mentally, maritally. And spiritually comes first, and then our physical, mental well-being. But then financial growth is also important. If you guys grow financially, I will also grow financially. We will all grow financially. Yeah. So Dami, we just want you to just share, what are the things about stock investments, and also how to, as beginners, as starters, how to go about it, and platforms to go about it with. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also a very important thing. But one thing I always say to people is, so before you begin to consider equity investment, stock investment, because these are risky, um
Yeah.
these are considered
Yeah.
portfolio or risky
Yeah.
security because they're very volatile, right?
Volatile. Yeah.
So I usually advise that it should be more of a long-term investment strategy. Like it should be part of a long-term, strategy more so, because you should typically not put money that you need within the next, 12 to 18 months in the stock market. Anything can happen and then the money dips. But that doesn't mean it will not
Mm.
go back up when,
So, okay.
it's getting back to its feet. So having said that, like I always advise that let stock investment be your long-term investment strategy. And for the short-term investment strategy, of course, you have the money market that you can put your money into. You can keep
Mm.
some in cash as well. And yeah, but even at that, you have stock market, which is very risky. If you're not as risky, you can do fixed income securities. But for the purpose of today's chat, if you want to invest in the stock market, which is great, make sure that it's the money that you don't need anytime soon. And then of course there are a few platforms that you can use to uh, make this to begin to trade in the stock market. I know that all the Canadian banks, they do have like a brokerage platform through which you can buy stocks, so you can definitely check your bank's platform out. But there are also all these um, independent brokerages like Wealth Simple, there's
Oh
Quest.
yeah, no, what? Yeah. That's
on
great.
that one. So the choice of which of these brokerages would you use would definitely be dependent on a few things, like, for example, the cost of trading on each of these.
Mm,
So like they charge you a commission for every trade you place, right? So
yeah.
some are free, some $5. So depending on how much it is, you know which one
Yeah.
you want to go for. For me, I tend to typically go with the zero commission ones, but
Yes, now because that's money going out. That's still
exactly
spending.
going out. And then the brokerages also, there are other things that you can consider, like what are the other things that you can trade? Like, do they allow you to trade options?
Okay.
But for beginners, I don't see you trading options like immediately. So you might just want to focus on what is the commission
So
like.
for beginners, which one would you
Um,
suggest?
so I'm not really going to recommend anyone.
Okay,
I'll
okay,
just
okay.
say,
That's
you go and look at the cost of each of these.
each
The
of those things.
online, exactly. If I'm
Okay.
and then you go from there. I know Wealth Simple is, charges zero commission.
Yeah.
Question is like $5. And so, and of course, when you're investing, in stocks, like, you really want to get started as a beginner, get started with, the most sustainable companies. You want to
Mm,
understand, like, what does this company do? What do they sell? What are their
mm,
products? What are their services? And do you
mm,
think these same product and services, or whatever the company's business model is, do you think it will thrive in the next, say 10 to 15 years? Because again, this is a
mm,
long-term strategy, right? And then
mm,
go from there. You look at our world today, what is happening? We see tech, we see food, we see this, we see that, you know what I mean? And then
yeah.
go from there to pick what you believe from your research, of course, would continue
Yeah.
to thrive into the future. But
That's
as
good.
beginners, I always try to suggest, instead of stock picking, because there are just too many stocks out there in the world, you can
Yeah.
go for ETFs. So what
Okay.
ETFs are so ETFs just tracks an index. So what that means is it is a representation. So ETF is a representation of a couple of company stocks. So an
Okay.
ETF can have about 10, 15, 20, 30 stocks in it. So when you're
Okay. Of a particular industry.
of a particular exactly of a particular industry or theme or what.
Okay.
So when you're investing in that one ETF, what that means is you're essentially investing in all those 30
Oh,
companies comprised in the ETF,
mm,
that are components of that ETF. So that
that's
also
good. That's
gives
safer, I guess.
exactly. So
Yeah.
that is usually safer for beginners, especially people that don't also, understand the technicals of research,
Yeah.
companies and
Mm.
stuff.
So then, what's the difference between the ETFs and then mutual funds?
Yeah, that's a good question. So mutual funds are so ETF is more like so the components of the companies in ETF, they're more or less static. So they're permanent. So if you have 30 companies under that ETF, then that's what it will be, right? And you
Mm,
can buy it in the stock market. That's ETF.
mm,
For mutual fund are actively managed. So this
okay.
mutual fund, you put in some money in it. So
Mm-hmm.
that be managed by people
Okay.
can beat the market and provide their investors the best return that they can possibly get.
Oh, I
So
see.
they can change the content of that fund like every time. Maybe they will change they will remove one company, put another company, and that
I see. I see.
managed as opposed to ETF. ETF is
ETFs,
managed. So you're just putting money in
putting the money.
the industry or an index and things like that.
I see. Wow. Wow. Loads and loads of info. Wow, you loaded me today.
Yeah, but
Thank
it's
you.
good like to just get started. You can like buy one ETF or maybe one stock and see how you get
I
comfortable and see
goes.
how you get used to it and you read more. Like
Yeah.
it's not it's a good way to put your long-term savings money to make more money for
More
you,
for you.
though it's
Mm,
more risky.
yeah.
If you're not as risk exposed, if you don't want so much risk, you can definitely
Mm,
go fixed income securities that guarantee you, that gives you like
Mm,
fixed rate of return.
mm.
Uh,
That's good. That's good. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Dami. Thank you so much. Wow. Wow. Guys, are you guys loaded? Yeah, this was a
When
wonderful,
did
this was a
you get
packed
your
one.
own, for you, like, um so one thing I wanted to stress, for new immigrant is this credits history, credit card
Mm,
issue, honestly.
mm.
For you, when did you get your first credit card? Like, after how many months that you moved in did you get your first credit card and you thought of
To
starting
be
business?
honest, like because I was so scared of having to be buying on credit or just have it with me and be tempted to use it. I didn't want it until I heard like you couldn't get some things without it because for phone bills, like they wanted the credit card. So I think that was actually what prompted me to getting my credit card, which was probably like maybe like 3 to 5 months after. I'm not sure after I got in here. That was when I got a credit card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot of people's experience. Like, I do have friends that have been here for 2 years and they did not get credit card, all because of the same reason. Like, they just don't want to put themselves in a credit situation where they have to be owing, a bank.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what is important, or what we don't know, is that you need that credit history to access
What?
anything that if that you anything that you would even pay cash for, like
Yeah.
to rent a place.
Yeah.
You want to see your credit history. To buy
Yeah.
subscribe to a phone company, you need that stuff as well. So what I always advise people to do is just get a credit card, use it, even though you have the
And pay
cash,
back.
and pay it immediately, so that you don't
Yeah.
forget and it becomes an unpaid balance. So
Yeah.
you have the cash, pay with your credit card, and then immediately pay back with that cash that you wanted to use. At least that
Yeah.
way you're building that credit history, because all they want to see is that are you paying up credits, like
Yeah.
paying it well.
Yeah. You paying it on time. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's actually true. That, like I said, I've just been focusing on credit score. Although eventually I got the credit card because I needed to build like credit history. That's what it is called.
Yeah.
So just to reiterate that again, if you want to have a credit history, a good credit history, you need to actually have a credit card. Have the credit card, use it, and then pay back. Don't
Yeah.
just keep using, keep swiping and swiping and swiping and offer, and then forget to pay back. You have to pay back and pay back before it is due. That's also important.
That's the most
So
important.
yeah, that's important for you students out there, for new immigrants. That's how it works here. Okay, so thank you, Dami. Thank you so much for this session. It was good. I learned a lot. Thank you so much. And I hope to have you again on my channel. Okay. And to my viewers, thank you so much for, paying attention and taking notes. I'm sure you did. And if you
Thank
have questions, yeah, oh, you're welcome. So I'm sure some people they might still have questions. So I'll just leave a link to Dami's channel. Oh, I'm praying for you. You're gonna have a channel, Dami. I'm going to leave a link to Dami's Instagram
you.
account, Daddy Jola on Instagram. Ask her as much questions you want to. Just tell her you're from Abiola by Grace. It's going to be free
Feel free,
consultation.
feel free.
Feel free. We are here to help everybody. We didn't have this opportunity before now, and here we are with the opportunity, and we are ready to, pour into other people, help other people as well. So feel free to ask your questions, and I hope to see you guys on my next episode with Abiola by Grace. Until then, take care and be safe. Bye.